goes. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday 29th of September. So on this lovely day in September, let's have a look at what news events due out today, and let's get the right one. Let's click on 29th, there we go, and expand that, there we go. So not a lot is the answer. We've been having speakers all week coming through, and we've got more speakers coming through this week. Pending home sales, that's not, I don't know why they even colour this in as an impact. It has none to the markets at all at the moment. It should be yellow, it shouldn't even be coloured on here. Crude oil inventories, of course, can create a stirrer, and that may well kick on and give some movement for the oil markets, particularly at 3:30 there. And then we got speakers at 4:45, so a whole bundle of them all speaking here, due to participate in a virtual panel discussion titled the Policy Panel. It's interesting. Is he joining into the same panel? Oh look, we're still invited to ECB things. Anyway, there we go. Oh, is the Fed chair joining in as well? They all are. Right, I thought it was just us. Right, anyway, there we go. So that's then. I don't expect too much to come from then. So let's get on and look at the technicals and the euro dollar. Well, euro yesterday managed to get down to its lows and then just stall there. It's remaining quite stubborn around these lows, and very stubborn, I think is the term. There we go. Goodness knows how much it can be held up there, but it's held up there, and well, whether it comes down and approaches those levels again, but it certainly it seems it can do no more wrong for now at least. But regardless, to me it looks soft, and all this consolidation around lows generally means that you'll see a continuation. We're not seeing too much of one, certainly from yesterday's point with the euro, but maybe one, as soon as I say maybe one to be left, it'll probably fly down today. Talking of which, I said yesterday about cable holding up a lot better than the euro and some of the other markets, and what did it do? It took out all the lows. Not that I wanted to get directly in it. It was a wait and see what was happening, but crikey, did it move. Breaking out all through its trend lines. Saw a bit of movement pre 8 o'clock, of course, and it was starting to sell off there, but it's just continued through, curling around at the moment. It's got its daily pivot above. Now if the other markets all start pushing up, where it's got a decent target to run through just to back to that daily pivot. Yesterday it couldn't raise anything, couldn't raise a glass. Today, well, maybe it'll get up there a little bit more if we see some action, but it looks good on the sell side. Now this is put down to obviously the problems we're having with fuel and stuff in the UK and gas. All of a sudden the energy side of things seems to be the focus, but I think it's just nonsense, but there we are. Okay, Dolly Yen. Dolly Yen shoving up and continued a good move yesterday, running back into these prior highs, and that stalled things, and it's stalling things this morning. Not much follow through so far, but it's hanging in there. And there we go, consolidation route again. So we're seeing this across the board, really, this consolidation. Now, are they all going to be moving upwards, or are we downwards, depending on which way you're looking, continuing, or are we going to see a bit of a reversal here? Maybe the dollar's just coming to a bit of a halt where it is now, and the US certainly won't like it running too high. For now, as I say, everything's quite stalled. Break to the downside here, maybe the S1 may come into play. We could see some quite big moves if we do get some sort of correction, because we get the short squeeze that sort of comes through in this particular case, or long squeeze in this particular case, actually I should say, but we get the squeeze come on, and we could see some quite quick movements. But in all intents and purposes, they are still looking like a continuation. Now, one that didn't sell off quite as hard as the others, it did come off yesterday, but certainly didn't go through and make new lows, was the Aussie dollar. It's hanging in there. Now, maybe this is the candidate for today, but hanging around its lows at the moment. It's not really doing too well. It's already up to its daily pivot. Arguably, it's done quite well there, but we will see. Again, difficult to put a picture on where these are going at the moment. If, as I say, if they start selling off post 8 o'clock and we can get into them, well, if you're not already into them, they could be pretty good. Alternative for this to become a bit more bullish, I'd be looking above the key moving averages there, above the 50, the 200, the 34. I'd want to be seeing the price up in that direction, but it's not a clear one to be seen at the moment. If anything, if you come back to the dailies, always in consolidation around the lows suggests further lows, but there we are. Right, Canadian dollar. A bit of a reversal bar yesterday. Key reversal bar is bigger than much. Bullish engulfing, completely out. Much bigger than the previous day there. We're going to see further upside. We've still got this weekly pivot to the upside. It's holding where it is at the moment, and again, I think it'll be. We'll see these markets probably move pretty much together. What could hold the Canadian dollar? Perhaps oil later on this afternoon. Oil itself has run out. We'll show you that, run out of steam a little bit for a moment. Perhaps people realise that they can pump as much as they like of the stuff. There's so much surplus in terms of production sitting there that it's probably not the safest bet to be holding long. Anyway, for the CAD at the moment, maybe got the potential for a bit more continuation here the way it's sitting. But again, it's a pretty much a mess. Talking of messes, actually, Euro Yen. Euro Yen's been probably one of the clearer movements. It continued yesterday. It shoved up there. Where to at the moment? Well, it's sort of stepping its way. In fact, you come back to the hourlies, and it is given some half decent retracements, and maybe this morning if this starts breaking across through that badly drawn trend line, but starts pushing, giving us a bit of a reversal, it may be an opportunity up towards its R1, maybe further, but it has been stepping its way up there, still making the moves. Looking for divergences. There's probably a bit of divergence in some of these moves. Arguably, people will be saying there's divergence between the previous highs there. I'm looking at a smoother MACD, and that's really was showing the strength into this move. And yes, it's coming off at the moment, but so it should be. So is price. Anyway, not much else to say there. Right, that's the currencies for now. Bit choppy, bit messy. Let's look at the price of gold. So commodity wise, gold, well, selling off again yesterday, as pretty much expected, catching a bounce at the moment. If this is going to hold or not, it's a bit like the rest of the markets, stalling. Now we could get a complete sort of reversal, and again here there's a short squeeze on the gold holders, but well, I don't know, actually looking at the lower time frames here, it's got all the makings of a higher low coming through on gold, which may see it catch a flyer if it pushes above the sort of those prior highs there. 1741, it looks a bit more bullish, but I was looking at the higher levels yesterday, and well, be looking at these sort of levels for a kicker above, and it might just put, as I say, any short squeezes. Short squeeze may push on. Right, oil. So oil yesterday went in, double topped, and rolled over. Now, I did mention it yesterday about the surplus oil, but no one seems to be listening, but perhaps they are. Anyway, it sold, came off yesterday. Profit taking maybe from some of the longs that have been going up there. Just it was looking like it was all setting up for some more upside, but just didn't manage it. Come 2 o'clock, it broadly sold, and that was it. It's sort of making a nice pattern leading into that sort of time, but couldn't do anything more. As I say, rolled over and looking a bit softish where it is at the moment, if anything. So maybe treading carefully later on and seeing what it does. But it's to me just looks like it's run out of steam a little bit. But well, this afternoon's data may change that all around anyway. Right, I'm going to look at the S&Ps on here because I can. Let's just have a look at the S&Ps on here. I've got a bit more detail. So looking at S&Ps, really soft looking sort of price action we've seen there. It was pushing up pretty well. Wasn't, I must say, with all the moves, I wasn't convinced of these continuation, and sure enough, it continued its roll yesterday. Pushing off there. The equity markets in general have looked a bit iffy. Catching a bit of a bounce now. I'm not too sure why. Well, it's just where the market's stalling at the moment, maybe, and then maybe. But the way it's sort of catching this bounce to me looks like we could see a continuation later. It's a nice bear flag in this on this picture. We could see the continuation. Now let's have a look at the other equity markets. I just heard the ping, so. Here you go. Look at the FTSE. FTSE's up this morning. Is that the FTSE already up that much? Goodness, it's taken a bit of a flyer this morning. It doesn't matter whether Evergrande continues to pay its debt or not. It's not really having the knock-on effect on our markets at the moment. Actually, let's go and have a look at the other markets, and pretty much downers kicking in there. Ended up with a bit of a doji bar there. But still, to me, looks like a weak market, and it's just a case of waiting for that break. But that certainly looks a weak old market. And then Nikkei, again, big gap down here. It's such a horrible gappy market. And don't look for the gap fills. I looked at it yesterday, thinking these markets are looking like they could roll over, and well, it has rolled over, and they're, as I say, looking soft. However, at the moment, the FTSE's up, the DAX catching a little bit of a bid again, looking much more like the S&Ps in its large down day yesterday. They are looking to me like there's a potential continued rollover sort of potential. Anyway. More potential for them to potentially roll over. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, there we go. Let's looked at the S&Ps. Just quick look at the Nasdaq there, coming off. It's catching a bounce on the futures at the moment, but all very similar pictures. And the Dow Jones hold up just slightly a bit better, but still all looking relatively soft. Right. Finally, indices, crypto even. Just a quick look here, and yep, catching a bounce. Probably no surprise here. So we're seeing it across all the markets. Bit of dollar stalling effectively, and the market's catching a bit of a breather for now. And all of these just running up there. Still looking for the break on all of these, thinking, well, if that break goes, I think we'll get a bit more panic running through. But for now, holding tight. Right, on that note, I shall leave you. Have a great day's trading. Trade safely, and I'll catch you in the morning. Bye for now.